don't know if you can tell it, but those of us who are together are having a terrific time learning how to deliver our content in such a way that we cause the students to learn without them even knowing it. That is the master teacher. Do you know that? It's a teacher who can communicate to their students in such a way that their attention never leaves what's taking place and puts the content inside their head without them actually knowing you've done it. So what we're going to do in this session is we're going to move to a new topic. And we're going to share something with you that very, very few people know about. I certainly didn't know about this through all the years of graduate school education, all the many thousands of books I've read. I didn't know about this. This is the law of expectation. This has to do with the secret power of all teachers. Whether or not you've ever used it, you probably have in a negative power. And I want to talk to you about how this happened to me, how I stumbled on it. When I left graduate school and had the privilege of speaking and teaching at a university up in Oregon, in my first week, the students were all coming, and because I was so excited that I finally got to teach, I went to the gymnasium where the students were signing up for courses. And I was given a particular topic. There were 8 sections in the freshman class, and I was given 3 of those sections to teach. Another teacher had, I think, 3, and another teacher had 2. And I was just walking around. I was about the same age as the graduate students, and I was just having a great time listening. Why did you come to this college? What do you want to learn from this? And one of the professors I hadn't met, Tom Erickson, walked up to me in the middle of this and said to me, he introduced himself and said, "I can't believe it." I can't believe what? I can't believe they gave it to you. Gave me what? They gave you section 2. Well, I have section 1, 1, 2, and 8. What are you talking about? Oh, no, he said section 2. Didn't they tell you in new faculty orientation? I said, no, there was only one new faculty. That was me, and there wasn't any orientation except a coffee break. And he said, oh, I can't believe they gave it to you, the rookie teacher. Section 2 are all the best students from all of the 8 sections picked out and put into one class. He said it is absolutely astonishing the difference. These students are so highly motivated, and the papers they hand in are so amazing. You're going to say, I never want to ever lose section 2. It's another world. And then he walked away. Well, I had never been in a section 2 as a student, and I didn't really know what to expect. So when my first week came up, I taught section 1. We had a great time. They learned, they were involved, and then I had section 2, and I was just kind of curious. Well, when they walked in, you could feel the electricity. It was, as what he said, it was electric in the room. And when we had discussions, oh man, it was like another world. Well, I thought to myself, I hope this class never ends. And then when they handed the papers in, they were just of a whole other kind. They were a joy to read and grade. About halfway through the semester, I was on my way down to the cafeteria to have lunch. And my academic dean, Joseph Wong, who I've mentioned earlier, came next to me and said, well, Bruce, the early part of teaching is past. You're now into the mainstream. How do you like teaching? Oh, Joe, I love to teach. I love teaching here. Thank you for the joy of this. He said, I'm glad to hear that. What's your favorite part? I said, well, that's not hard. I have section 2. He stopped walking on the path, and he said to me, you have section 2. I do. Oh, tell me about that. And I told him everything I've just told you. He said, no kidding. Is that really the big difference? I said, Joe, it's amazing. He said, well, do you want to be amazed again? And I thought to myself, I'm getting another section 2. And he said to me, Bruce, we canceled section 2. There is no section 2. What? Yeah, the executive committee decided to spread the highest students on all 8 sections. There is no section 2. Joe, you're pulling my leg. No, I'm not. I couldn't go eat. I turned right around and I got into my faculty office and I picked up my phone and I called the registrar, Miss Joyce Kehoe. I said, Joyce, this is Bruce. Yes, what can I do for you? I have section 2. Long pause. You're just finding out you have section 2? No. But section 2 are the best students, right? No, we decided not to do that this year and give it a test. Section 2 is like every other section. Are you and Joe pulling my leg? No, we're not. Really, Joyce? Yes. I remember hanging up my phone and I took out the inspired grade book that doesn't lie. When I took out that grade book, I opened it up. I looked down the grades of the 30 students in section 1. The grades of section 2 were a whole different kinds of grades, and section 8 was like section 1. Big difference. Over there was my bookcase, and there was on this level no books, and there were papers I had to grade. I took the 3 of them, 3 stacks, and I put them on my desk, and I said, papers don't lie. I took section 8 and I put it on top of section 1, and I had section 2 right here, and I squeezed the air out of all of it, and section 2 had more pages in it of the students being motivated than both section 1 and 8 added together. And I was trying to cope with what I was learning, because I never once said to section 2, come on guys, you're the best students in the student body. Let me see what you can. I never said a word about section 2. Where was section 2? Right inside of me. That's all. It was the same content. It was the same teacher. It was the same day of week. There was the same word said, except I had an expectation, the secret power of all teachers. And I remember sitting back saying to myself, what would have happened if I thought it was section 8 was the smart students? What would have happened to how much they learned because I thought they would? And I ran, like a brick wall. I ran right into the law of expectations. That law is absolutely profound. And it is powerful in that what I expect you to do will greatly affect what you do. And I want to talk to you about that as a teacher, because you have expectations, and I do, about every single time you and I teach. And before I get into this, I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me as a high school student. I went to high school in the period of time that America put a whole lot of emphasis upon being fit physically. And our president at that time challenged all the high schools of the country to install a brand new program of competition of how many pull-ups you could do, how many push-ups you could do, how fast you could run, how high you could jump. And there was about 5 other, how many sit-ups you could do. And we had to do this every day. Well, the coach said to us, from now on, we're going to change the color of the trunks, the shorts that you wear when you're in gym. And we're going to say, those of you who are the bottom students, the bottom guys, will wear yellow trunks. Those of you who are the top 10% of the guys in the school will wear yellow trunks with a big black stripe saying you're in the top 10% of the school. And then he said, for those people who are the top 10 athletes of the school, we're going to give you a red beautiful silk satin shorts. And for the number 1 student in the school, athletically, we're going to give you silver trunks. And then from now on, at the end of every gym period, all the guys are going to run around the field where all the girls are working out. So all the girls can see the color of your shorts. Well, that was pretty smart. Well, I was into a lot of different athletics, and I was hoping to get a black stripe. And our family had 6 kids, and there was a little pull-up bar for the kids when you were younger, and I would go down at night, and I would start doing pull-ups to just make sure I could get in the top 10%. And I would do that each night, and I would do some push-ups and sit-ups and so forth. And one night I was doing this, and my dad, who's an engineer, came home from work, and he walked down and he watched me. He said, "Hey, Bruce, yeah? You could be Silver Trunks anytime you want." And then he walked away. I remember thinking to myself, what? I can't be Silver Trunks? But my dad said I could be Silver Trunks. Phew. That changed something inside of me. That was an expectation that was stated out loud. It wasn't secret, but it was stated by a person I loved and respected. He never lied to us. And therefore, this respected leader, my dad, said to me, "You can have Silver Trunks anytime you want." Something snapped inside of this young kid's head, and I believed him. And when the tests came about, I got Silver Trunks. So I went to college, and my brother was down there doing pull-ups. And one day, my dad walked down to my kid brother and said to him, "Hey, Gordon, you can have Silver Trunks anytime you want, son, just like your brother," and went back up into the house. And my brother Gordon, who you just met, was the second person to win the Silver Trunks, the only family in the history of the school that two people from the family won the #1 place. And it happened, you need to hear this, because of my dad. It was my dad's sentence that changed his two boys to get Silver Trunks. That's profound. And my expectations about Section 2 changed 30 students' behaviors. So I want to talk to you about this. And I want to broaden this issue of how do I think about this biblically? I want to go over the expectation mindset. And I want to show you the passage of Scripture that's extremely helpful about this. I want to broaden this to a bigger idea and then zero in about how do you do this. This is in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24, and it says this, "And let us consider," watch this now, let's consider one another. What does that mean? It means I pay attention to you. Let us consider one another. Why? In order to do something, to stir up in you love and good works. Whoa. So what does the Bible teach me to do as a person, not just as a teacher? That I have to put up my antennas and pay attention to you, to watch your body language, watch your eyes, watch your papers that you hand in, watch what you do and how you walk in and out of class, watch your tone of voice, watch who you hang around with. I am paying attention to you. Why? Consider one another for a purpose. It's not just to know how you're doing, but it's supposed to do something for me. I see you and I understand where you are, and then I'm supposed to do something to you. Whoa. I'm supposed to come along. Watch this now. I'm supposed to stir you up. I mean, get you going. I see where you are, and I stir you up, which means God's revealing I can stir you up, because He's telling me to stir you up. Every human being can be stirred up by another human being, no matter where they are at the time. But you have to pay attention and realize this person needs to be stirred up, because I can stir you up. And I've been stirring you up as best as I can for 3 solid days. And I've been paying attention to body languages. I've been talking to various ones of you. So I know how to stir you up. And to stir you up for specific things that text says. To stir up love in you and good works. Which means, as a result of my impact upon you, you do more good works. Because of what I did with you. I stirred you up. As a result of you being stirred up, you did more good works. rest of the verse says, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some, but rather exhorting one another, exhorting one another, and so much more as you see the day approaching. What is that saying? Okay, I'm supposed to watch you. I mean, really focus on you. And I have a goal. The goal is, I am to be the agent for God to stir you up, so that two things happen to you that are good. You love more, and you do more good works. Okay, so I see you, and I know that's what I'm supposed to do. How do I go from here to there? I exhort you. I speak to you. I exhort you. I speak to you in such a way that you get stirred up for love and good works. All right, the second passage is a sister passage to this, and it's in Hebrews chapter 3. Beware, brethren, beware. Watch out. Pay attention, brethren, lest there be in any of you, Christians here, an evil heart of unbelief. Whoa. What does a heart of unbelief do? It causes you to depart from the living God. Beware lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living God. Wow. So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to exhort you. Whoa. You mean when I see somebody who's heading in the wrong direction, I'm supposed to intervene? Yes, I am supposed to intervene. How does God intervene? Through me obeying him to intervene, to exhort one another. Here's the shocker of this verse. How often? Daily. Every day. Every day, I'm to exhort people. I'm to pick out two kinds of people. People that are just kind of hit a lull in their life, and they're not really straying from God or not really in trouble, but they're not really going for it. I'm supposed to stir up in them love and good works. Then I'm supposed to pay attention to other people who maybe hung around with the wrong crowd, or something bad happened at the house, or something else occurred, and you see some stubbornness and some evil heart of unbelief departing from God, some hardness in their face, some rebellion in their attitudes. I'm supposed to exhort you daily. Whoa. You mean speak to you about something? Yes. How often? Daily. So here's the question. Did this happen to you? Did you exhort somebody today? Or did somebody else exhort you today? While it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. So I want to take this and build it on the platform of that chart. And we'll come back to the whole issue of an expectation, but I want you to take a look at seeing this chart. As you see, there are 3 boxes, and there's a focus going backwards, and there's a focus going forwards. And we see the teacher in the middle taking a look at this student, and the same student after the teacher acts is a whole different approach. So let's see if we can't fill out this chart together. On the left-hand box, we have the student, and the teacher in the middle is supposed to consider the student, which means it's more than seeing a group. It means you're paying attention and you see the person. And you say, whoa, how you doing today? You look a little down. What am I doing? Picking up the vibes. She's down. What do I need to do? I want to pay attention if there's rebellion or hardness in it. If there's no rebellion or hardness and she's just down, then I know it's the other half. I got to stir her up for love and good works. What happens is we don't pay attention to our students. We don't consider them. And what we have to consider them about is their attitudes. What are they demonstrating in their tone and so forth, and their actions. Their actions. And what you want to do at all times is examine. Examine them. Pay attention to the person's body language, tone of voice, friends, their attitudes and actions. So you're examining them, you're considering them at all times. Now, what are you told to do? Stir up. Stir up these people. Now that you've seen them, stir them up. Okay. After I examine them, how do I stir them up? I exhort them. Exhort. And I exhort them into two different things. The first is a positive on this side, and the second one is a negative. The positive is to love and good what? Works. And I'm to exhort the people that are on their way out, negative, no hard heart. In order to do this, you want to consider them. You have to care about them enough to exhort them each day, and then you have to communicate with them. So let's put some words across the top. That is, what's another way to look at this, of how it works? On the left-hand column is empathy, where you actually feel with the student and where they are. I remember this happening with one of my professors, where I was very down one day, and it was a small group of a graduate level class, and there were 12 of us in the room, and I didn't want to get involved in the discussion. I was depressed, and I just didn't want to be a part of it. And so I was taking notes, and the professor stopped about halfway into it, and he says to me, "Hey, Bruce, you're not yourself today." "No, I'm not. I'm really not." "Are you all right? Let's stop for a minute." And he got up and he came around. And he stood right next to me, put his hand on my shoulder, and said, "You know, I really care about you. Can I do anything for you? Can you set what's ever bothering you aside a little bit? And can you jump into class like you always do? I miss you. I want you in the class. Come on, man. Come back." And right when he said, "Come on back," I came back. I came back. What did he do? He saw me. He saw both attitudes by my body language and my actions of non-participation. It was nothing he had done. He saw me. And then he understands, I'm told to stir up my students. I'm told to do this daily. And he saw a student that needed this. He then got out of his chair, walked around, touched me, exhorted me. He realized I didn't have a hard heart. I wasn't rebellious in my tone to him, that I was just down. And he exhorted me to love and good works. Come on, we miss you. Get back in the discussion. Can you do that? Come on. What is that? What did he do for me? He turned me right around. Right around. And here I am, 30 plus years later, and I still remember that. Why? Because so few people do that to me. And so few people do that to you. We live our lives and we pass each other and we don't exhort each other each day. This makes sense to you? Okay, good. I want to move now away from this big picture of expectations, because the empathy in the middle is an expectation that you are forming about your student. And the next one is that you want to excite them. Excite them. Excite them. Oh my, I remember this early in my marriage. Oh my. Some things were challenging in our lives, in my life at this point. We were newly married. We lived off the campus at the university. And I was just getting more and more depressed about something. And I came home and I was just, quiet and depressed. And I said to Darlene, "It's nothing to do with you or us. It's just all me. And give me a little bit of space and I will come out of this." And she said to me, "Is there anything I can do for you?" "No, there really isn't. It's me. Don't. It's nothing to do with us." Well, the next day I was still in this black funk. And I came back from the campus about supper time. And there was this table that was set in our living room. It was a little table with one chair and a candle. And my favorite meal, just one plate, was on this table with my meal. And I walked in, and Darlene said, "You know what? I made you your favorite meal, and I want you to just enjoy it by yourself. Love you. And she went to the kitchen. The way to a man's heart is through his mouth. And I thought, my wife is so forgiving that she went right over where I was, and she stirred me up by doing something so loving and gracious to me that she got me out of it while I sat there and I couldn't finish my meal. And I said, sweetheart, come on, come back. I'm okay now. Come back and sit with me. What'd she do? She examined. She figured, what will my husband, how can I stir up my husband? I don't want to nag him. I don't want to get on his case. How about just kind of surprising him with a gift? It's terrific. I love my wife. You can do that anytime you want, sweetie.